this is Stream, and today we have a 3-game NBA slate for you. Before I get started, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? It really does help the channel a lot. I really do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get into this slate. It is rather small, just 3 games. The Phoenix-Sacramento game has a high total at 244. The other 2 games are under 230, so do keep that in mind. And that is Denver, Philly, and Oklahoma City, and the Clippers. We have a pretty extensive injury report, despite that it's only 3 games. For the Philadelphia 76ers here, we do have Melton out. We also have House as questionable, and so is Covington. Looking at the Kings, we have Murray questionable, and then for the Suns, we have Bol out. For the Thunder, they're actually at full strength today, and then the Clippers, they have Zubik out. So uh, then we're going to look at Denver, and their entire starting lineup is questionable. So that's Joker, Murray, Porter, Gordon, and Caldwell Pope. That could definitely play into how we're going to play fantasy today. So let's go and get into our core plays today. So Bradley Beal is going to be the first one. Now he has been playing very well lately. He's had some really high ceiling games. He's also had some floor games in the tougher matchups, but this is actually a higher pace game. And Sacramento doesn't play a ton of defense, so I expect him to have a pretty solid game, especially with them at full strength. He's been playing very well, and he has that big time upside. Obviously, he's not a must play because he does have a lower floor, considering that he has to share the ball with Durant and Booker, but he's in play today as a good play on this slate. Looking at Joel Embiid, he's back from his injuries, and while he does face a tough matchup today, potentially against Denver, if anybody misses for Denver, that helps him. And he's got high ceiling anyway, and he's going to be one of the highest scoring guys on the slate outside of Joker, if whether Joker plays or not. So he should be at least in the top 2 in total fantasy points on the day. And right now, with Joker being questionable, he's definitely the top guy. Obviously, if Joker was to be ruled available, I would swap him to Joker. So do keep that in mind. Looking at Kevin Durant here, Durant has not been perfect lately. He's been a little bit inconsistent. His floor has been a little bit lower than normal. However, his price has also dropped down. He needs 46 fantasy points to pay off here. Obviously, with the Suns at full strength, his usage is a little bit lower because Booker and Beal both take some more of the opportunities, but he's still going to be in good shape today as his price is nice and low, and it's a fast-paced matchup, so he's definitely somebody that's in play on the slate. Looking at Philadelphia here, I actually like Patrick Beverly a lot today as a kind of a value play, though he does carry some risk as he's a little bit pricey. He's had a couple good games recently, and with the Melton out, he's going to get a boost in total minutes played. As you can see in the last 5 games, he's had 3 games over 27 minutes, and he's managed to score 24 fantasy points or more in those 3 games. I expect a similar type of game today, though he does carry some risk. But you're not going to find a lot of value plays on this slate, at least at the current situation. We're also going to look at the Clippers situation here at center. And now Theus and Plumlee are in play today as GPP plays. In the last game, Theus played 20 minutes and Plumlee played 15 minutes. That's with Zubac out. And neither one of them were very fantasy relevant. However, they do have some upside because they could get involved a little bit in this game, but it's definitely a risky play. But they are in play, and so they're definitely worth a look, especially in GPPs, but they are high risk, high reward. And then we're going to look at the Nuggets. Now, the Nuggets, like I said, have all their starters at questionable. If any of them miss, then the option from them will potentially be available and be a viable fantasy option. It's interesting as the bench roll guys for this team are actually all nice and cheap, unlike some of the other teams on the slate. But we're looking at Jackson, Braun, Watson, and Jordan are the top guys that we're potentially going to look at if anybody is ruled out for sure. And they're all under $4,000, so that will help you pay up for other guys. And then if that was the case, let's just see what that looks like if all 5 starters were out. So you would have something like this potentially, and you'd actually be left with $8,000 for 2 more places. So you can definitely mix and match some decent options here, like get Durant in there, and let's see here, and then Jalen Williams would probably be a decent option. So that's definitely a way that it could happen if Nuggets sit all their starters, but I'm not certain that that will be the case today. So, but that's just something you could look at. With that said, though, this slate is pretty rough. So if you do play it, then play lightly, as it's only 3 games, and there's a lot of questionable tags for a slate like this, and the matchups are not the best. So if you did want to play, the stacking Sacramento and Phoenix is definitely a viable option. And if Denver hits plays everybody, then that would definitely be the best option along with using Embiid or Joker probably. But uh, that's pretty much what I have for this slate. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. And have a nice day, guys.